I need to push back our start on March 4th till 7 o'clock. So I hope that's not a big deal, and we'll send reminders for everybody. So you'll know. So welcome again. My name's Jill Stevens. I'm a member at Hiawatha First Nation. For those that don't know me, I've been beading since I was 18. I'm pretty much self-taught. I have been shown little bits here and there, but for the most part, I've taught myself. I learned how to sew when I was quite young. So since then, I thought I could apply some of those techniques to beading. I've created several regalia pieces over the years. I do a lot of earrings, medallions. I have a piece. This is a piece I'm working on right now. It's a little bit of lazy stitch with 2-needle applique. Just lots of things over the years. I do it as a hobby. It's not really something I do all the time. I do it when I can. For me, it's a way to relax and enjoy. Usually when I'm sitting watching TV, I can't sit still. So beading has been a really good thing for me. So as you know from last week, I've never beaded this particular medallion before. So I'm kind of working with you guys to try to figure out the best way to get done. So I'll show you. I posted a picture on the Mississauga Nation Facebook page, a close-up. So that's how much I've gotten done. I don't know if anyone from last week went ahead and did a little bit more. Good for you if you did. I'm really proud of you for trying that. So tonight we're going to work on, I think, the Mississauga, do the feathers, and then see how far we get from there. The only reason I'm doing different colors is so that it'll pop when I'm trying to show you, because I was finding that the white on white or black on black wasn't really working that well. So the expectation though is that you'll use your black and white where it's black and white. So unless you have other colors already of your own beads that you want to use, and that's perfectly fine. So I'm just going to adjust my screen so it could be on the work table here. Does anyone have any questions if I'm going too fast? Loretta had some questions over email. I don't know if she's on tonight and if those were answered appropriately. Just before we move on, I just want to make sure everyone's comfortable and good.
You got a question from Vanessa.
Okay,
Jill,
Vanessa.
on the pipe.
Yep.
Do you just put the beads on the side of the? This is what I'm doing. I'm just putting a bead on the side of the arrows, like 2 beads, and then.
Yep. Sure. However it works for you to fill in the space.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm having problems with the letters, so.
Yeah. Mine aren't there. I have the hardest time with lettering. Like even mine aren't straight. I'm hopeful that once we get the rest of the fill in, it'll kind of like correct itself. But I really hate doing lettering. It's hard. For the pipe, I did 3 beads going this way, and then filled in the rest. But if you want to just do a straight line and then like a little bead on each side, that works too. Whatever works for you. Like however it works for you to fill it in is fine.
Okay.
I keep thinking there's no right or wrong way to do it, right? Like whatever.
Okay.
Yep.
Jill, there was another question. Someone wants to know if you can go over the bird, please.
The bird. Okay, so the bird was very tiny. I don't know if you can see that very well. Mine's a bit of a mess. Debbie showed me hers. She's not here, but hers was quite neater. So I think the best advice is you're going to lose detail. You'll probably have to do some spots with 1 or 2 beads at a time, and really just do the best you can. Yeah, I don't know a good way to do the bird. It's very, very tiny. And really, like mine just looks like a mess, I think. Yeah. So yeah, like I don't know if my hands are shaky. So I don't know if you can see that very well, but a lot of the spots I did one bead, like right here, one bead there, and then just did the, oh, yours is gonna be wonky too. Yeah, don't feel bad. You're wonky at all. Like I said, I've been beading forever and mine are wonky. So
Okay,
yeah,
good.
don't expect perfection at all.
So,
Just do the best you can. I'm going to start tonight to work on the lettering for Mississauga. And I think there's enough contrast with those letters that I am going to do it in black, if I can find my black bead container. But if you haven't already started on the Mississauga lettering, it's the same technique we used on the nations. So for those that are just joining us, what we do, let me just find my black beads. I was all getting set up tonight. I joined a little bit early, was getting all set up, and then my internet conked out. So I spent 10 minutes trying to reconnect. So
oh, it's gonna be a wonky one.
I'm trying to find everything. So what we do is getting over to the M where I'm going to start. I hope everyone can see okay. Is come up at the end or at the top of the M, the first line. There, that should be better. Pick up four beads on your needle. Bring your beads to the end of your thread close to the paper, and we can bead right on the paper. It'll all be hidden when we're done. And without making it too tight, but so that it does, you don't want it to bulge, but you also don't want it so loose that it's going to move. So just right at the edge of the beads, you put your needle down.
All right.
Pull through. And then you come up in between the second and the third bead, pretty close to the bead. So your thread comes all the way through, it's tight at the back. And then you put your needle through the third and fourth bead. They might pull out a little bit, but still tighten. See how nice and tight that is? And then it looks like I have enough room for one more bead. So you can do, depending on the size of your beads, you can do, it might be 4, it might be 5 beads in that row. You can pick through the beads and see if there's fatter beads or thinner beads to help you find the right size. You can, I always do 4 maximum across in a row, but you could do 3, you could do 2, depending on how much space you have. So that's one way to do it. And I'll just tack down my last bead. So I'm going to come up through the 4th bead of my first row. So the 4th bead and the 5th bead. And then right beside the 5th bead, bring my needle down, pull my thread through, and then you should have a pretty straight line. Then I'm going to skip past these little, my little inside M lines and just do this straight line, and then I'll do the 2 inside ones. I'll connect them. So coming up from the bottom, 4 beads, 4. My screen's angled down really low, so I can't really see if anyone types a question. So if you want, unmute yourself and shout out at me if you have any questions or need anything. So again, I did 4 coming up between the 2. Between 3 and 4. And if you're like me, your thread's going to catch on the corners, it's going to twist, it's going to just not behave. So just take your time with it, do the best you can. I always find that if I'm in a really foul mood, if I'm sick, just different things, like depending on my mood, my beading doesn't work out. So that's when I'm like, okay, it's a sign, time to put it down. Let's not put that bad negative energy into our work. Let's take a break. And so when my beads start to, or when my thread starts to twist or things aren't going well, then I know. So anyway, finishing off that part of the M. It should be good and straight. And then for the connector ones, what I'm going to do is do 1 bead at a time. So I'm just going to pick up 1 bead. And so I brought my thread up slightly, I don't know if you can see, slightly beside the outline of the black, just slightly beside it. And then I'm going to take my bead on an angle and just do 1 and kind of put it down the line of the black and just do a single bead down. And then I have to come back up through it, tack it down, keep it in place. So it's just, instead of trying to do a fat line of beads, I'm just going to use the one on its side. Because usually, depending on your beads, usually one on a side is a little bit thinner. Like it's thinner that way than it is the other way. I hope that makes sense. Really just play with it. The M is, the letters are a little bit small, and as I said earlier, I also have a hard time doing lettering, so I don't know how well you can see that. Anyway, hopefully that helped. And we'll do 1. And if you want to do 1 bead at a time and do the entire lettering as a narrow way, you can do that as well.
So Jill, my daughter is a professional beader, so she
good.
says that she photocopied it because she was helping me struggle along last week.
Yep.
So I don't know if you can see mine. It's kind of messy and it's right there.
Let's put the spotlight on you.
Oh, I don't know if you can see this or not. So that's mine. And then she said the same thing to me because I'm way behind. I'm still on these letters.
Yep.
But she went ahead and she did this last week. Can you see that?
Yep.
And she said the same thing. She said she had to do each bead individually.
Yes.
So I think she meant she had to tie it all in individually.
Yeah, I
Like
can see. Yeah.
She did each.
Yeah. Yeah. So whatever works, like they are very small letters, and I don't know what beads you guys were sent. I'm not working with the same ones. So it might
Yeah, she deals with she only shops in Hiawatha. So she went to Hiawatha and bought the exact same beads that we have.
Yep.
So she could kind of help along, and she said the same thing. She said do them all individually. She said it's the easiest way.
Yeah.
But yeah, she said it was the easiest, but hers looks pretty good, but she couldn't get the bird. She said it was too hard. So even, yeah, that's what she said. But even her bird, you can kind of see it. It's a little, can't really tell it's a bird.
Yeah. It's something there, right? Like it,
Yeah.
it's cute.
So I don't know what mine's gonna look like, but but I'm getting there.
Just do the best you can, really.
Yeah.
And it's really tight even on the M. So I'm just gonna do a little, fill in one little spot right there and just try to get that other line for the M. I was saying to Kim when we were talking about doing the medallion and how to get the bird to look appropriate, I'm like, we're either going to have to make it super big or lose detail. And so we just opted to lose detail because I don't think anyone wants to wear a medallion that's like gigantic on you. So just kind of maneuver the beads the best you can. So there's my M. I hope it looks like an M. It's not so bad. We have a woman in the community here who does sewing, and she's always like, if you can't see it from the road, it's good. So I keep that in mind when I do my beading. And I'm always like, nobody should be that close to me. If they're that close to me and looking at my mistakes, they should be on their knee proposing marriage. But so I'm working on the eye. And I don't know if it'll hold 3 or 4. So I'm just going to pull 3 down and see how that fits. I think I'm just like, I could maybe squeeze in 4, but I think just to give it that differentiation between the M, the large M and the small I, I'm just going to do 3. So I'll still come up beside it and tack down the second and the third bead. And it doesn't want to sit straight, of course. Things never work out when you're showing off, right? Like, I'm sure if I was just doing this without trying to teach it, it would be sitting pretty nice. Oh. And then I get caught on the back, just a little tangle. So just one little bead up top for the dot. And come back and tack it down. So it looks like the S's, the G, and the A might be tricky. We'll just do the best we can. I think I might just do 2 or 3 beads at a time, not do my 4, just to try to have control over the curves. I'm sorry, I keep turning my paper so that I can see better, and I'm hopeful you can still see. So I'm just gonna play with it a little bit, try to figure out where to, because on this, it's not going to be a straight line, right? So I'm not going to put my thing down and then my needle down at the end of the beads and hope for the best. I'm actually going to kind of try to hold it with my finger where I want the beads to lay. And then, so it'll be looped, or it just won't, it might not sit nice where it should if you were doing a straight line. And then I'm going to, if my thread will cooperate, see how it lumped like that? What I'm going to do is bring my needle up on the S between the first and the second bead and catch, so it's outside. Hopefully you can see where it's wiggling, but it's outside of the thread with the beads, and I'm going to catch my beads, the thread, and pull them into place. And just instead of going through the beads to tack them down, I'm going to use my needle and thread to pull the thread into place. I'm not going to tack down the beads through the beads. I'm going to tack them down by putting it on beside the thread. And that kind of held it in place a little bit. And I'm going to do the same for between the second and the third bead. So it'll maneuver it into place. So this is actually a technique that we would use for 2 needle beading, where instead of going back through beads, we tack down the thread between the beads. So that's how my S looks so far. I'm gonna continue doing that. 3 more beads. And I made a rookie mistake and tried to put my thread on, or my beads on the back of my medallion. Okay. So on this one, I am going to come up through right beside, kind of where I came up this last time, and come through the third bead. So it'll look like a continuous line, so that I'll catch here and then continue going around. So I'll put my 3 beads on again. And maneuvering them with my finger where I want them to go. Put the thread or the needle down at the end. Then again, try to catch it. And pull it over in place. I'm just going to come through this one, not tack it down. It'll catch, it'll be secure. And then I think 2 more beads to finish off that S. And I'm actually going to come through here, the third last bead again, and use it to tack down again to the last 2 beads that I put on, just to try to enforce that continuous curve, to just try to get the beads to sit exactly how I want them to. And I'm actually going to come through both of them. And then tack them in place. So that's my messy little S. And if I'm feeling really picky, I might tack this one down the top. See here, it's bulging a little bit. So I'm a little bit of a perfectionist and I don't want my beads up at all. So I'm going to come back at the top here. Just catch that single one that's popped up. Go through and pull it down. And that totally made it flat. They say some bead workers will assess other beaders' work, not by how it looks, but how it feels. They'll be like, oh yes, that's very nice beadwork, rather than looking at it. So I like to keep mine nice and flat. Sorry, tea break. And then we'll repeat with the other S. How's everyone doing? Is everyone caught up to the lettering on the Mississauga? Is everyone, or some people still working on other parts? Like, how'd you do last week with your, not really homework? Anyone? Does anyone want to show off their work, what they've done? You guys are shy. That's okay. I am just going to continue working on the S. Because it's the same, I'm not going to do a running commentary on this one. I always feel a little bit self-conscious when I'm talking away and there's no response. So for my own sanity, I'm just going to shut up for a little bit. But again, if you guys have any questions or if I'm going too fast, if you just want to chat about anything else, let me know and I'm happy to help out wherever I can.
Hey Jill, it's Casey here. I started on my lettering, well, after the last class. I got kind of brave, so I kept going. But
Yep.
my beads were kind of close together when I was working on the lettering part.
Yep.
So I had tried to sort of space them out as I was going, but it ended up going, like, it kind of started going wonky because I was putting white beads in between my lettering as I went. So if I do that next time, should I just straight ahead, just do the black lettering and then just work after?
For sure. I never do fill in between until after I'm done, because you never know, like if like I could probably do fill in between the letters that are complete, but I wouldn't do it between like this S and the S I'm working on right now. And honestly, I just do fill right at the end. I would so for this one, what I would do is I would do the feathers next, and then I would do the canoe. So I'd fill in between the Mississauga letters when I do the canoe. And then the very last, I would do the fill on the black. And so I would do the fill between the letters at the end when I'm doing the whole thing. Because it can, you can really push your letters out of place, I think. So.
Yeah, and I found that's what was kind of happening with mine too, right? Like the letters were slowly moving further and further. I mean, it wasn't too bad, but maybe I'll take this one apart, I think, and maybe start over. It's my second one anyways. I'm a bit of a perfectionist too, but I am
Right.
getting better for my first or my second one and my first one. So hopefully
Right.
the third one will be better.
Yeah, and even like my lettering is not anywhere near perfect. Like it's a very hard thing to do lettering. I don't do it very often, and it's certainly like lettering this tiny is a little bit detailed and can be a little bit wonky. So yeah, and then the other thing when you're doing fill between, like you don't want to force beads where it's gonna really be tight. So like even between the O and the N here, it would be really tight. So I would really go through my beads. I would try to find like the narrowest little black one that I could do, and I do one on its side to just fill in the spaces rather than like a whole line down, because that would push it out of the way. So doing fill is really detailed work too. It's like the big open spaces, not so much, but in between the lettering or between the feathers will be detailed work.
Okay, that's good to know and really helpful, Jill. So maybe I'll slow down a little bit and just follow along, because I find that when I get ahead of myself, it's like helpful to know those little tips, I think, as I'm going along. So too much.
You're welcome. And Teresa, you bruised yourself. Oh my goodness. That's a pretty bad stab. I've drawn blood, but I've never bruised. I hope you're feeling better.
Yeah, it was really bad. The bruise is still there, but I think it hit a vein too. So I think
Oh
that's
my
the whole big issue.
Yeah. How are you tonight? Are you able to work on it tonight?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm trying, but it's slow, I'm afraid. But other than that, yeah, I'm working away.
Okay, good. I've done like lots of times where I've like drawn the thread over my finger over and over again, and it's raw, and I'm just like, I can't work. And then I can't put band-aids on because I like to feel with my
Feel what
hands,
you're
right?
doing, yeah.
Yes.
'Cause if you don't feel the back, or you just can't stab it in good.
Exactly. So yeah, hand injuries are not fun.
No, not at all.
My doggy's whining again. I try to come down when he's outside on a walk so he doesn't like know instantly that I'm not around and he just thinks I left, but I guess he can hear me or something. I have a little tangle in the back. And I always like when I'm beading, I don't know if you can see, but I always hold it like, yeah, I should move that better. I always hold it like right like this when I'm working on it. And sometimes I find if I just put it flat on the surface I'm working on and just like hold it in a way that I can really see it, see how it's going to lay, it sometimes is better than holding it up to me. And then I'll adjust that. Sorry. And then sometimes I apologize. I forget that I'm doing, trying to show you guys what I'm doing as I'm doing it. So I'll get in that habit of like bringing it up out of screen. And yeah, I apologize. So if you catch me tending to do that, just shout out and say, hey, Jill, like show us what you're doing. Well, my second S looks better than my first S, but I don't know. They're pretty small. I think you might have to be pretty close to see what it actually says. I hope when it's all done, when it's all when all the lettering's done, it'll be very clear what it is. And there's my second S. So another option, rather than doing it straight down, is to do all of the letters one at a time, like one bead at a time, which I'll do for this eye just to show you. On its side, instead of rolling up this way, we'll just go this way, and then the beads will look a little bit narrower. This might be something that you want to do for the S, for the A maybe. I'm going to actually try this on the next S and see if it makes a difference. If it does, I might take the first bit of lettering out and redo it. Or not. There we go. And then, so you bring one bead through at a time, come through it twice so that it's tacked down, held in place. And then you come up with your needle just beside it. Come through it again to tack it down, make it nice and secure. And I just stabbed myself. One more bead. Tack it down. There. So I don't know if you can see a difference in how the beads are running, but the center of these beads, it goes this way, whereas the original eye that I did came up and down. The beads ran this way. So I did 3 at a time this way, up and down. I did 1 at a time for this eye running this way. So it just makes it a little bit narrower, might be a little bit cleaner. So that's an option if that's how you want to do your lettering, just to make it a little bit cleaner. Then finish the dot. It really depends on the beads. Some beads are significantly narrower than they are wide, so you can do that. Other beads, they're just big round fat messes and it wouldn't make a difference. And then some beads, like I have this bag of black, I find these ones, excuse me, will have some really fat ones, some really thin ones. And when I find the thin ones, I put them aside so that when I am doing things like the fill, and I just need a really, really narrow bead, I have them ready to go. So I have these little containers that I showed you last week, and I'll just leave them like those beads on the top of the lid, and they still screw in together and they're still safe, and but they're collected out so that when I need them, there they are. So I don't know, but I think that looks like a neater eye. So I'm gonna try the S that way. Do one bead at a time on its, I keep saying on its side, but they're all on its side. Just one bead, see how it goes. And then it might control the curve a little bit. I'm not sure. The curves are pretty tight. I think next week I'm going to get you guys, I don't know, maybe not. I was going to say maybe get you started on your lanyard, but I think maybe we should finish the main medallion to make sure that you guys have enough beads, because the lanyards can take a lot of beads to do. So we don't want to run out for the medallion. But I thought maybe we could do the lanyard just as a break. It's a different technique, and it's pretty simple to do once you pick it up. Kim actually taught me how to do it, and all she did was give me the verbal instructions, and I went home and I tried it, and I'm like, oh, this is super easy. Which is rare for me because I'm a visual learner, not one who usually learns through reading or hearing it. So if I can pick it up that way, then I think it's an easy technique. I don't know if you can see, but that's a good example of what I'm talking about in terms of the difference in the width of the beads. They're from the same container, but that one is super chubby compared to this one. So if I was needing, depending on what I was using it for, I would pick through and find either a really thin one or a really chubby one. And in this case, I want the thin one. And you probably see me keep turning my thing. I'll be like this sometimes and this sometimes. I don't think you need to hold it all like as if you're working on it, like you're reading it. You can turn it however you need it to see it. These are super small little S's. They're getting really crowded. I think I'm liking doing the single bead at a time more. I think I like how it looks a bit better, but I think the real determining factor will be when I put, I don't know if you can see much difference, when I put my little white bead in between and see if that'll make a difference in being able to see what the letters are supposed to be saying. But just take your time with it. Do the best you can. Gonna be picky about which beads I pick up. I was so unhappy with my bird that I thought about restarting the whole thing, actually. And then I thought, oh, maybe I'll just take the bird out and redo it. But I had taken a little bit out of it earlier last week, and I lost, with all the holes I was poking through, I couldn't see the design of it anymore. So I thought if I had to take out the whole bird, I would just reprint the whole page and just start my medallion over again. But then I decided I was being far too picky about something that's very tiny and decided to leave it. Because I was always taught we can never, we shouldn't try to achieve perfection, that we weren't made perfect, and that we shouldn't try to have perfect work. There should always be some, I think we talked about this last week too, a little mistake, and those mistakes keep us humble. So there's a little bit of humility for me, who's been doing beadwork for so long and then am in such a perfectionist, and there it is, just killing me that it's not. Did anyone go out, or I don't know if you could, things just open, but did anyone go find little containers or anything for your beads, or are what you received them in okay, or do you think you'll go out and get beads and try doing your own maybe earrings or medallions or whatever? Anyone feeling brave?
I found a beading mat that
Yeah.
I put my beads on. I find that really easy.
Is that one of those sticky ones?
It's like the foam ones.
Okay. Yeah. I'm too klutzy that if I were to leave my beads like just on a flat surface like that, I would be knocking them, hitting them all over the place. They would not be where they should be. Which is crazy because I am not klutzy with these, but they're a bit sturdier. I have knocked them over in the past. So I think the worst sound is the sound of beads spilling. But that's good that you found what works for you. So there's my S using the other technique. I think it looks a bit tidier. I think my very first S is very wonky and looks kind of like a weird upside down G. But I think regardless of which method we use, whether we do the one at a time or a couple beads at a time, just do the best you can, because it is very tight, very small lettering to do. So I'll just start on my last S. I've seen like tutorial videos of beaters just like sitting there shooting the shit. Sorry for language. Like showing how they do their techniques, and they just whip through it. And I'm like, I don't know how you can bead that fast. That's amazing. I am not a fast beater. Even after all this time. Just taking my time trying to find the right size, the right width of bead. How's everyone doing? You're all quiet.
Hey, Jill.
Yeah, hi, Veronica.
This is as far as I got. I'm working on the bottom of the pipe. You
Okay.
see?
Can I put you on spotlight?
What's that mean?
Then I can see it bigger. Yeah, now everyone can see it bigger. Oh,
Oh.
very nice.
I said I'm way behind you guys.
No, take your time. I just last week when you guys were talking about nationhood and boundaries and all that, I just kept whipping through and did what I could. So don't worry if you're behind. Yeah, and just do what you can, and I think between this week and next, just do what you can to catch up, because eventually we're going to have to do. I'm trying to put myself back on spotlight. Eventually, we're going to have to, like for the last one, I'm going to show everybody how to piece it together. Thanks, Sean. So we'll all have to be done. So that when we're finishing like the edging and piecing it all together, we'll all have to be have all our work done and ready to go. That includes the lanyard and the medallion. So
Okay.
So for these first couple weeks, I want you guys to go slow so that you get it and you understand it, and that you're here with questions or whatever. But after next week, so we'll have this week and next week, you can kind of do your thing. But after next week, I'll be wanting you to be to a certain point before the next class, if that makes sense. Are you happy with how it looks, Veronica?
Oh yeah, first time we've done.
Good.
I will wear it proudly.
Good.
Then I got to make an outfit to match it.
Yeah. Are you gonna put color in your outfit?
Right now I have a leather.
Oh, okay.
And I started my moccasins.
Yep.
And that's as far as I got.
Okay.
I was gonna see if either Sandra or Anne, they helped me during the Pan Am.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I wanted to put some cloth with the leather because I didn't want it too heavy.
Right.
I liked how they did the layout for the elders because we had got them to make 7 outfits for us.
Right. I remember.
So I want one that's not going to be too heavy.
Yep.
Yeah,
Nice.
probably add the. It's hard to put the beading on the leather.
Yes, I've never done that. I don't know how to do that. I've seen people do it, but I'm not the one to teach you.
No, I think I might end up getting them to help me.
Yeah. So Sam's my mom, eh?
Sam.
Sandra.
Oh, I didn't know that. See, I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know how people are connected.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
she was really good to us.
Yeah, I remember when she was busy, she had me do some of the beadwork for it. Not a lot of it, but some of it. Some
That's
of the
good.
earrings and
Yeah, they were really proud of it.
yeah.
I don't know if you remember. Carl King was one of the flag carriers for the Pan Am.
I didn't know who like names of people. She just told me what she wanted done and I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he passed away in October.
Oh, that's too
He
bad.
was one of our teachers for the LSK Elementary.
Yep.
Yep, he was really good teacher in our community. He did like the cultural at the school for over 20 years.
Yeah.
The drumming and
that's-
singing and yeah.
Yeah.
Kids really liked him.
Yeah. There's of course when I get to my 4th S, it actually looks like an S. So even for me, practice makes it better. These ones just look like a mess, and that one does look like an S. So just do what you can. I might, I'll probably take these 2 out, these 2, the first 2, and do them again.
I did that last week. Took more
Yeah.
twice. I'm going to get up and make a tea.
All right. Mine went cold because I was talking too much. So for the A, now that I'm on the A, I'm continuing doing 1 bead at a time. Because I find, I wish I'd started doing that way, because I'm finding it really is making the lettering more clear. It's a narrower, it is narrower, so it's actually flowing better. I think for the nation, it was bigger lettering, so doing it the way with multiple beads on was fine, but I'm finding for the Mississauga lettering, I'm enjoying, or I'm liking how it looks better. You can manipulate a little bit how the beads sit too, depending on where you put your thread. So if you want them on a little bit of an angle, or to like I just kind of where I put the tack down the second bead for my A, I just moved it slightly with how I put my thread down. It was more angled straight across, and I just tweaked it just a little bit, and now it's slightly coming down a little bit. So just play around with it. It's one of the things I like about beading is that you really can maneuver and make it flow and make the beads really look like different things depending on the how you run your lines, different things. And if you go through like Google searches, or if you're on Instagram and you search beadwork or different things, and just you can see different people have really adopted different styles, and so many of them are just really stunning looking, and I often do that and go, oh my gosh, that's such an inspiration. How did they do that? I really like doing Ojibwe florals, so I look up a lot of different, like some of the colors that people are using for them. I just am in awe sometimes. Even earrings, like, which are fairly simple, like the ones that are around gemstones and maybe have like 2 or 3 rows of beads. There's so many different colors that people use, or their use of the different gemstones that I would never look at and go, oh, I would love that. And yet they do them, and it's just like stunning. I had an order once for a pair of earrings with colors that I would never ever put together. It was for our girl's graduation. It matched her dress, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, that's gonna look hideous. And then once it was all together, it turned out to be my favorite earrings that I've ever done. It just was beautiful. So just if you're getting brave and you want to do like, you can use these techniques on whatever beadwork you're doing. So if you want to do earrings on your own, or make a different medallion, just have fun with the colors, with the design. Really, the only limit is your imagination. Did anyone look up the 2 needle beading that I kept mentioning last week? Has anyone done 2 needle beading? No, okay.
I was watching them. I was watching them on YouTube.
Yeah. What did you think, Vanessa?
The 2, I get tangled up with one. So
Yeah, you think 2 would be. I thought that I would too, but honestly, I stick the 1 needle that I'm not using in my shirt, and then it just stays out of the way. And it's actually easier to do than you would think.
Because I'm doing the edging on my other beading, so I've been looking at all kinds of techniques on how to edge.
So what edging are you doing?
I was doing the the 3 and I don't know, peyote, is it?
Pico?
Pico, peyote, I don't know. This is what I'm doing. See it?
Okay.
And
Very
I
nice.
want the frilly ones at the.
Yeah.
So I've been looking at that. So
Okay.
I was doing 4, the scallop one, the 4 beading, and then. Yeah. So I think I'll stick with the 4. That's a basic one. So
yeah,
the easier I can, then that's what I'll do.
Yeah. I like the Pico Stitch because you can play with it and like do three, so you have like the 2 and then the 1, or you can do like yeah, like multiple lines, like 5 and then 4 and make it
Yeah,
scallop looking. Yeah.
yeah,
It's an easy technique. Like it's the same, you can get multiple looks using the
Yeah.
same technique, right? And
Yeah.
then if you can play with colors, use multiple colors to do it. It's a fun little stitch and it's pretty easy. Once you pick it up, it's an easy one to do. And I didn't know what it was called. I was doing Google searches, like watching YouTube or whatever, and I'm like, Pico Stitch, what's this? So then I was telling people that's what it's called, and then they couldn't find it. And I'm like, I don't know how to spell it. I just came across it one day. I don't know. So I couldn't even tell you what YouTube link I was looking at, but I'm pretty sure that's what it's called, is the Pico Stitch.
Well, this Wandering Bull has one.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
he's rough and stuff, but he's
Yeah.
he was showing 3 types of stitches, so 3
Yeah.
types of edging, and then there's another woman who does it too.
Yeah. The one I watched had a woman on it. And then I found a picture, and I've kept it on my phone. I'll see if I can find it forever. And it shows like the Pico Stitch, but how the different, like the number of beads makes
Yeah.
a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I find it, I'll hold it up to the screen.
But yeah, I was halfway, I know I was more than halfway done with the edging, and
Yeah.
I didn't like it, so I took it all off again.
Yeah.
Oh.
So are you doing one kind of like that, but with just 3?
I'm doing this one, the run right at the bottom.
This one.
No, the other one,
Oh,
the
this
one
one.
next to it. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Yeah. I like this, like the single one for like
Yes.
tiny, like for
Yeah.
earrings and stuff, because it's a really tidy look.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I would like playing with that one too, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, and my
Because
phone.
I think I cut my pattern, I cut my medallion too close. So
Yeah.
I'm having a problem connecting them together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
see?
Yeah, you need to leave a good portion on the edge. Like you don't want to trim it right to it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I
And this
did.
says, my picture says Picot is what it's called.
Oh,
Picot?
okay.
Picot? I don't know. I would
Yeah,
say Pico. but-
Pico, I think it's Pico.
Yeah. Anyway, if anyone's interested in looking that up, it's Picot. Another edging that's really nice for medallions is just whip stitch with
Yes,
Like
I saw that
5
one
or
too.
6 beads. It's an easy one, but it uses up a lot of beads.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. Maybe I should go with the whip stick with the
Yeah.
whip one because of how close I've cut it, right?
Right. It's tidy too. Like if you get the right number of beads for your edge,
Yeah.
it can be a really tidy stitch to do. Like a tidy edge.
Yeah.
And then you can play with colors on that too. I've done a few where I've done whip stitch and then I'll do like alternating black and white.
Yeah.
And that's a cool look. Oh, Debbie, you're back. I think you missed early on the next week. If I offered up to do Thursday night if everyone wanted to do that instead, or we can keep it Friday night. But just a reminder, next week's scheduled to be next Friday, not next Thursday. And then on the 4th, I have to present to my council at 6 o'clock. So I have to push back the start on the 4th to 7 o'clock.
Okay, so next Friday at 6 and the 4th at 7?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Council meets only on Thursday nights. So I have to go meet with them for my job. So
Well, that's important.
yeah. And I was like, oh, it can wait. And like I could do it another time, but it's something I need an answer from them sooner rather than later. So yeah, I'm sorry about that.
I have another craft on Thursday anyway,
Oh, okay. What are you
next
making?
Thursday. It's just one night.
What are you making, Vanessa?
We're making rag moccasins.
Oh. I've never heard of rag moccasins.
Oh, no, it's a curved leg thing.
Oh.
I think it's a curved leg thing.
Oh, okay.
They used to do them. Everyone had them a long time ago.
Well, you'll have to show us
When-
on the 4th. or on Friday on the 26th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
And then you'll have to make one for everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Or you could show us all how to do
Oh, yeah.
it.
Sure.
Are you just getting crafty, Vanessa, or have you always been
Just
crafty?
getting crafty.
Now that you're retired?
Yes, and with COVID and stuff, I was getting crazy.
Right. I have to be for my sanity. Like I just can't sit still. I can't sit and watch TV. I go crazy. My hands have to be busy and my mind has to be busy. And it's not busy enough just watching a TV show. And sometimes I'm like, okay, Jill, like shut your brain off. You're tired, like take a break. But for the most part, like I find beading, it's strenuous on my brain. So it's a nice little way to relax, decompress after a busy day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's I'm up to my U. So my A kind of looks like an A, I guess. And my U looks like a U, which is good. And then I'll work on my G. And I'm still doing the beads on their side. Just one bead going this way. See how where the hole is? My thread's getting tangled. So I moved my craft room, my crafting space to my basement. I told you guys that last week. And I find that I don't want to be down here by myself. I'm like, why did I do that? I want to be up with my family in the evening. I don't want to be down here just going like by myself. So I'm like, I'm fine. I'm not crafting at night. I'm just on my phone, like playing games or whatever. So I'm not getting anything accomplished. I feel like I should leave like the bulk of my stuff here, but take like a project upstairs or something. I don't know. I'm debating on what to do. But the lighting, when I built my house, I didn't realize like the light bulbs that you choose and where you place your fixtures makes such a huge difference, because the lights we bought are so dim. I have to turn like every light on in the we have like open concept living room, kitchen, dining, and it's so dim in there. So I can't really see to do my crafting unless it's daylight. We have really great light through the house, but like in the daylight when the curtains are open, but at night I'm just like, I can't see. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I might just buy like a new little like bendable light for beside where I'd work, and take a project upstairs to work on at night. I actually have to finish. I've been working on these cuffs. I have one done, and I have this much to do on my second one. And I've been working on them for my brother-in-law since I met my husband, like 11 years ago. So he's patiently waiting for me to finish. Thankfully, he's patient. I'm not charging him for them. So they're kind of like a little thank you for giving me your brother and best friend gift. But I had started a much bigger pair on canvas, and I was finding the canvas much too flimsy to work on. I didn't like working on them. So I was delaying and delaying and delaying. And finally I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do them smaller. I'm going to do them on a different backing, and I'm going to get them done. But with COVID, I just haven't been in the mindset to sit and do them. I just felt like really stressed from COVID. I don't know. So I need to get back to it. And so it's the first time I've ever done lazy stitch. And I don't know if you can see the difference between like the paw and the rose. I don't know if you can pick up on the rose, but this is just lazy stitch in the black. And oh my gosh, I love, like, I don't like that it's not flat. I'm very much a perfectionist and want it to be all flat all the time, but I love how fast it goes. Like, I've never done fill as fast as I have with lazy stitch. It's great. Depending on what you're doing, the technique you use really makes a difference. So lazy stitch is really easy to do too. And it's the one bead technique that I actually remember. I wasn't taught it, but I remember hearing people being taught it when I was doing regalias for the first time. And I didn't like how it looked at that time. And so I'm like, well, what can I do? How can I kind of apply the technique that I learned how to do that I don't like, and make beadwork that I think looks nice? And that's when I realized that doing 4 in a row and tacking down 2 worked for me. That's a technique that I thought looked nice. And then about 20 years later, I learned about 2 needle beading, and that changed my life, and I love it, and it's my favorite, and I'll never do anything else if I can help it. Tammy, was it you whose daughter does beadwork? Are you there? Nope. Okay. Just curious if anyone else has done beading and what they find works for them, or if they like any one technique over another, or.
I had never heard of 2 needle beading until I came to your workshop that you did on when we did the earrings, but it like just gives you really line work when you're doing like circles and stuff. I like that it's super flat. It makes everything look really neat. So I like it. I did actually a pair of earrings, and I want to make some earrings using that technique for my nieces.
Excellent. Thanks, Casey. I'm glad you liked it. You can use it, like if you were doing the medallion, you could use it on the medallion too. You could use it for the fill or even like the canoe or whatever.
That's what I was wondering, how you would, like, if I was gonna do 2 needle, or I guess 1 needle too, is like, I don't know how to
Yeah.
start the center. So I was gonna wait and see how you did it.
You mean like the black part?
Yeah, like when you're doing the black part in the fill and you're gonna do the
Mhm.
2 needle like, beading and just do like a circular pattern, do you start in the middle or do you start on the outside?
I would start on the outside and work your way in.
Oh, okay. See, I was thinking it was the opposite,
Yeah.
but me.
Just that way it gives you the outline, right? For the I've seen people started in the center. I've seen people like if they showed their work, like the progress, some people will start in the center and they'll draw like the circles so that they know that they're doing it where they should be. Because it's very easy to get off a little bit when you're working around other lettering or other like stuff in the way. So I found that working from the outside, and it kind of, you'll lose it in the middle here, like what between these, but for the most part, it'll help you keep the circular shape. I can show you. This is another piece I'm working on for myself, and it went a little bit wonky in some areas, but I did work on the outside and then brought it around, and I tried to keep the circular shape going, except for inside the frog, because I wanted to kind of give him like the lines for his legs and like really give his body shape, right? To make the lines flow in a way that looks like a frog rather than a big circular mess. But anyway, yeah. So that's a piece that I did, that I started on the outside and worked my way in.
Yeah, it's really nice. I like how it looks because it just looks like really clean and just nice. I just like
Yeah.
the way that it just looks when you're away from it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just assumed that Kim sent 2 needles for everybody, and I assumed that we'd be doing 2 needle medallions, but not a worry that it's not at all. And especially for these intricate areas, I don't know that you could do 2 needle for some of it, like the lettering. I don't know that we would want to, especially the Mississauga lettering. Like I wouldn't want to do 2. I think doing one at a time, one bead at a time is the way to go. Because my letters are actually kind of looking like the letters, doing it one bead at a time, whereas like you can see the difference. I think you can anyway, between the multiple beads at a time versus the one at a time. Who joined us tonight? Somebody joined us tonight, and I wanted to know if you had any questions about doing the tacking down the rhinestones. So if you're just joining us tonight and you want to know how to do that, let me know.
Yeah, and I think at the beginning of the workshop, Sean had mentioned too that the video from our first session is up on our YouTube channel now.
Right.
And we sent the link out to everyone. So if you like the sort of casual pace, how we've been going, and you guys don't want to feel rushed and you have to catch up, it's a good video to go back and reference and follow along as well.
So there, I'm done up to my G. The little, I don't know what that's called, the bottom of the G. I was debating, I only put 3 beads in and they kind of formed a triangle rather than a circle. I was debating trying to squeeze in a 4th bead, but I think it would just push it all out of place. And so there's a little bit of a, I'm probably being too picky, but there's a little bit of a gap that I could probably fill, but I think I'm just going to leave it because it would just throw everything off. So on to my last A. Hurry for time.
Half an hour.
All right. So I think, so the lettering's taking a little bit longer than I thought. So what I think I'll ask everyone to do is try to catch up to the finish of the lettering, the finish of the bird, the like everything up until the feathers, and do your feathers. Like try to get your feathers done before the end of before class next week. And if you'll just excuse me a minute, my husband's calling. What's up? And he leaves. Of course, just wants to be a brat. So the feathers would be the same. I'll probably get to it tonight to show the first one, but it would be the same doing as I'm doing for the lettering. And then just fill it in. You'll probably lose some of this detail, and certainly like I don't think you could fit a black bead in this little spot or in here, but just fill them in the best you can and try to get the shape as best you can. But we'll talk about that. I'll finish my A and then I'll get started on one of the feathers and show how I do it. But again, I think that there's really no right or wrong way to do it. Just because it's how I'm doing it doesn't mean that it's the only way you can possibly ever do it. Just do what works for you. I'm just here as a guide, answer questions, provide advice that you can take or not. Just let you know what I've found works over the years. And a lot of mine's just been trial and error. I've made pieces that I've absolutely hated. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and I'll throw it out. And well, I won't throw it out, but I'll take it apart and start over. And then there's some earrings that I've made that I'm like, oh my God, I'm so excited about these. I can't wait to make myself a new pair of earrings and wear them and love them. And then I get them done and I'm like, these are hideous. What was I thinking? And everyone's like, well, somebody will like them. And I post them for sale. And sure enough, somebody loves them. So you never know, right? Thanks, Sean, for the video link. I think, Casey, you emailed, when you emailed us a link this afternoon, it included my personal email address. So if anyone has any questions, you can find my email address on there. But if you, I'll type it in again just for everyone, in case anyone has questions throughout the week. I can find my mouse. You want to reach out, let me know, and I'll try to help you or guide you the best I can throughout the week. I can't always respond right away, depending on how my work is going or how my day is going, but I will try to get to you as soon as I can, and definitely before next class.
Oh, Kim just joined us. Sunny Kim, how are you?
Hi, Kim.
You'll have to turn it down, Ashley.
Hi, Ashley.
Hi. Sorry, shoveling.
There's certainly lots to shovel.
Oh, Sean did make it.
Kim, how'd you do on your lettering?
I haven't even started it, Jill. I've been so busy.
Yeah.
And then coming home, there was ambulances and everything at Kathy's, so
Oh, I had no idea.
yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, everything was behind tonight.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to get tested and just crazy.
Hmm.
I'll be right back.
Okay. So last weekend I was down here in making my sewing area, my craft area a little bit neater. And I was going through all my beads and I found like so many beads that I had forgotten I had bought over the years. And I'm just like, wow, I have some like really cool colors. So I wish I had taken time to do that earlier because I would have done this in a different color than green. and I might still do that, take it apart and do it in brown or something. I don't usually use a lot of browns, but I was going through my beads earlier tonight to figure out what I could do the feathers in a way that would show a nice contrast against the black and the white. And I decided to do one in some in a dark brown and use this lighter brown too. So I'm going to do my feathers in browns just so that you guys can see how it's going to look. But there I'm done my lettering, and you can really tell, I think, difference between the two techniques, the one that I started with and the one I finished with. And I think I like how it looks at the end. But again, it is really close and the beads are a bit big for the size of the letters. So yeah, just do it the best you can.
Remind us, Jill, what size are the beads that we're using now, or that you're
I
using?
believe Kim sent size 10. So,
I did.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, Jill, what it would look like with Delica.
So for the lettering, Kim, for the last ones, I did one at a time on its side.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see the difference.
Yeah.
But Delicas are very like square beads, right?
Yeah.
So they're great for things where you need very like even sized stuff. So I'm wondering how like size 11s would be.
Oh, yeah.
Or 15s. With beads, the higher the number, the smaller the size.
Yeah.
So like 10s and 11s are very close in size, but there is a slight difference. I don't know.
Now the lady that I bought the medallion off of for the giveaway, the 12 days of giveaway.
Yeah.
She used size 10s.
Okay.
Yeah, and it looks great.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so these are Delicas. So they're very much like as wide as they are.
Yeah.
Yeah, their width.
It would be
length
very
is-
time consuming with Delica too, the fill-in.
Yeah, yeah, they're small. They're nice to work with depending on what you're doing. Just trying to see if I have 11s. I never keep the. So there's 11s, but they're Delicas too.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see. They're really shiny. So many of these don't have information. These are, oh, they're Delicas. Yeah, they're 11s. They are slightly smaller, but I don't know. I don't know what the best way to do the lettering is.
I think once you do the filler, it's all gonna straighten itself out. And
yeah. So I'm gonna go over to my feather, and I'm going to make sure, and you guys, it doesn't matter so much for you because this part should be white to match the canoe, or black if you did contrasting. But because I'm doing mine a different color, I want to make sure that the beads will be up far enough off the canoe that it's not going to look a little bit wonky, like it's not going to be down. So I'm going to bring it up a little bit high and start. I'm going to do a dark brown outside and lighter browns on the inside. And my lighter browns are mixed, like multi-tone. And so I'm not going to pick out like all of the same color. I'm just going to let them pick up how they do, and give it hopefully a look that just looks really natural. So I'm going to go back to do the four beads at a time. I think the beads that I'm working with right now are size 11s. They're a little bit smaller. They're very very fine little beads than the blacks that I had just been working with. So it's a slight difference, but once you get working with them, you can tell. But sometimes I buy 10s. They say they're 10s and they're super small. I don't know what the companies are trying to sell us. Anyway, I'm just gonna go around the outside, do the white of the feather with my
I
brown
find
bead.
if they're check beads, they're almost precise. If they're Japanese, they come from Japan. They're all
Yeah.
different sizes. Yeah,
Yeah,
depends where they're made.
yeah. And I'm like, I just go and buy, oh, I really like that color. And I don't often always, I probably should pay attention to like whether they're Japanese or Czech or whatever. And I was really bad for it at first when I first started beading. I just buy colors like, oh. And now that I'm paying more attention, I'm a bit more like, no, I really want I want size 10, or I want 11s in those, or I want delicas. And then the cuts, right? The cuts and the my throat's going sore. The cuts and the luster and all of that makes a difference too.
So you're doing the outside of the feather first, and then you'll work into the inside?
Yes, I'll
Okay.
do it entirely the outside and try to do the little divots and like this little area. I'll do one
Yeah.
bead here and then come up, and I'll probably throw a little one in here too. So I finished that row. I'm not going to keep it continuous. And then I'm going to come up here and throw one bead on. Go in that little space. Is that brown too dark with the black? Should I be doing a different color? Can you guys see it okay?
I can see it.
Okay. And then I'm going to start a new row and come up to the point. So 4 at a time.
And these are 11s, Jill, that you're using on the
I'm
feather?
guessing I just throw them all in my containers and throw away, or I'll buy a hank that doesn't actually have the size on them. So I'm guessing these are 11s. Just based on how small they are compared to the last beads I was working with.
Yeah, because I was looking at how they're laying on the feathers, and you can see a little bit of a size difference, but it's subtle, like
It
you
is
said.
very subtle.
So I was just
Yeah.
trying to take a look and figure out if I want, like, because I think I'm gonna start at the beginning of my medallion, and I might actually size my beads down to 11s and see if that works better for me.
Yeah. Yeah, there is,
'Cause I'm
it is a
novice when it
very,
comes to
yeah, very subtle difference in size. And I didn't pay attention to sizes till like years and years later, and people would talk about it and I'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about. I just throw beads on a needle and beads on a thread and go. But yeah, it makes a difference. It can make a difference depending on what you're doing, trying to do. So the hole's the same size though, so you can use size 10 needle through size 11 beads. You don't have to worry about that. So there's my first little line. It is a bit dark, but see, I came in a little bit with one bead there to fill, like, give it this little divot. It'll probably show better once I get the middle part done, and you can see with the contrast of the lighter beads on the inside. So if anyone wants beads or is looking for a great place to buy beads, there's this little store in Hiawatha called Weegwas that has a huge selection for the size of the store. The owner's really nice. She doesn't pay me to say this, but check them out on Facebook. They have all kinds of cool stuff in there. You can go in expecting to buy like one thing and have spent a small fortune when you're done. And not because she's overpriced. Don't get me wrong. It's because she has so many cool stuff.
I'm trying to eat dinner. Oh, thank you, Jill.
You're welcome.
And Sean's
it's a
looking
beautiful.
for Sean's looking for a medallion. So, you know, when you guys are done, if you want to sell it for like $5,000, I'm sure Sean would pay it.
There you go.
Yeah.
I'm getting tired. I feel like I'm getting sloppy. My eyes are getting tired.
Our workshop is done at 8:30, Jill.
Yep.
But if you always feel that, you know, if we need to end a little bit sooner,
No.
I mean, we can take your advice on that. It's really
Okay. I'm really good to keep going. I just mentioned it because it's like, oh, if it's true for me, it's probably true for other people. So but I'm fine to keep going until 8:30. When I get a little bit sloppy, I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna take a little break or just go slower, really take my time with it a bit more and try to be a little bit neater.
I find now, Jill, with everybody being on the computer and Zoom, and we're all doing our work on computer, that people's eyes are getting.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. The optometrist thinks I'm crazy that I get glasses because my prescription is so low. But I'm like, no, you don't understand. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
I can't be on the computer all day and then craft in the evening without my glasses.
Yeah.
And I just got a new prescription. It's just slightly different, like just that little bit more of a magnifier. And she's like, Jill, you don't need these, like, whatever. It's so different. It's so slight. And they make a huge difference. So I wear them all day on the computer. And then I keep my old ones downstairs and use them for beading. So I finished the outline of my feather, and I'm going to work on coming up in this little white spot, and I'm going to do one little bead in between, my thread's in the way, so just between here, and then I'm just going to do one bead up, and then hopefully I can find narrower beads as I come up. Start with some fatter beads and then work my way to a narrower bead, and just kind of match the line. I hope that makes sense. And have it taper off naturally the way it does in the picture.
Sounds like somebody's watching The Price is Right.
I haven't watched that in years.
I know.
All I can hear is the Leafs game upstairs.
Yeah, that's what Ashley had on when I came in.
My husband's a hardcore Leafs fan, and he has a bet with his boss, who's a hardcore Sens fan. They're playing 3 games this week, and whoever loses has to post the opposing team's logo on their Facebook for a certain amount of time. So there's a lot writing on it tonight because they're tied at one game each this week.
Well, don't tell him Ashley's watching because he says Ashley's bad luck.
Oh, okay.
Every time she watches, the Leafs lose. I said the Leafs lose all the time, so come on.
Yeah, he gets mad at me if I kiss him during the game when it's not a goal. Like he's super paranoid or just superstitious about it. It's a bit dark, but there I'm done the dark part of the beading of the feather in the dark brown, and I have to switch my thread. It's a little bit short right now, but then I'm going to do the little fill in. So I'm just going to tie off on the back. I've seen people do like tie their knots off in many ways in the back, and I don't know if there's a right way or a wrong way. I've seen some techniques that look super easy, and I'm just in awe, but I've never mastered them. So I just do this because it works for me. That's the back of my piece. It's kind of messy. This spool of beading thread I bought from John Bead when I started beading. It's the only spool of thread I've ever bought for myself and used, and you can tell. And I still have so much left on it. It's gonna last me, I think, my whole lifetime. It was like the best $20 I think I ever spent. I've bought like bead thread for other people over the years, but that one's lasted me. It's been huge. I've also tried from Michael's, I always get the name of it wrong. I think it's like Fire Line, maybe something with fox in it. I don't know. It's really expensive, and it's not as pliable, but it works nice too, depending on what I'm using, what I'm making. So I've used that for a little bit, but it is very pricey, so I don't buy it very often. And this thread has been so reliable for me over the years. And I'm surprised that after all this time it hasn't rotted or frayed too bad or just fallen apart. It's still holding up really, really well. So if you're beading after this, really invest in some good quality thread. There's some really not so good thread out there that frays really bad. Just really invest in good thread. That's one piece of advice I have for anyone who's doing beading or interested in beading after. Nope, Leafs just scored. I'm just going to fill in between the line, the outside line and the inside. So it'd be between this section and this section, just with one bead at a time, in however the space will allow me. And I'm just going to pick up a random color.
Nice face, Casey. What's she doing?
What's going on?
Casey's niece is making faces in the camera.
Oh, can't see. I'm very cute.
There she is.
Yeah.
I think Casey caught her.
I should have brought some water down. My throat's getting a little hoarse and I don't have anything to drink. Everyone's still good? I'm gonna go grab some water. Just give me 2 seconds. I'll be right back. You guys need to keep it down. They can hear you, especially when you're yelling, whenever, yeah. I know, but you need to keep your voice down. Oh, that's so much better. I'll try next week to remember to bring water as well as my tea. Oh, this is one of those instances where I thought it would look a lot better in its execution than it does in reality. Yeah, I think I'm not really happy with how the browns are looking. I don't think there's enough of a contrast between them, but you guys, it won't be an issue for you because you'll just have the black. But for me, I'm not really liking, you can't really see. So what I might do is take them out and just do like a really the light brown instead of all the different colors of brown. Yeah, so I'm gonna do that. You guys go on with what you're working on, and I'll try to get this taken out without fraying my thread too bad. So one of the best things I think about beading is that nothing really is permanent. You can take out most mistakes pretty easily with some patience. But most of beading is just patience, right? Taking your time. figure out where my last bead was, which one I put down last, so I can take it out. Aw, my puppy. So I'm just using the needle to try to pry up the thread enough to loosen it so I can pull it out. Doesn't always work. Sometimes I have to go to the back. And because it's a bit of a mess at the back, yeah, sometimes don't catch the right thread, but it's coming. Thankfully, I didn't get too far into it before I realized that I really didn't like how it looked.
Everybody's so quiet tonight.
I know. Everyone has been. I've just been talking like nonstop. I feel like I'm talking nonsense sometimes, but my throat got sore and I'm like, I can't talk right now. And I can't talk when I'm concentrating. And half the time when I'm concentrating, my tongue's sticking out. And I'm really glad you can't see me right now. My thread got really tangled, so I'm just holding it up and letting it untangle itself. Got twisted, so if it's twisted like that, it will probably knot a lot easier, and you don't want that. So I left the very first lighter bead in. I'm going to use all light brown beads, almost yellowish for in here. And then hopefully you can see a little bit better the contrast. But again, you guys will have the black and white contrast. Did anyone opt to do the opposite, like the white Mississauga, the black nation? Anybody do it that way?
If we did it that way, then we would have to do all the white background with the red black canoe.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, the Mississauga stands out better with the black, I think.
Yeah. I just wondered if anyone was an outside of the box, didn't follow instructions person. I know that my mom would just be like, no, I'm not doing it that way. Or I would expect that she wouldn't. She wants to, do her own thing usually. So I don't know if anyone else was like that. Oh, I'm liking that a lot better already. You guys should be able to see this better for when I show you in a second. For anyone who cares, the Leafs just scored again. My thread keeps catching at the back. It keeps kind of wanting to knot on me, which is usually another good sign that I'm getting tired. And yeah, it makes sense. It's getting later in the day. When I bead, I usually bead like my day. I work all day, and I make dinner and whatever, and I usually don't have time to settle until about 7. So usually my only beading time is between 7 and 9. And sometimes I can't even go that long. So if people ask me for work, I'm always like, I can make it for you, but please understand I make it at my pace. And I'll do good work for you, but it's not going to be fast. Because I don't often have a lot of time in a day to dedicate. I wish I had time to do more crafting. I have a quilt on the go. I have ribbon skirts I want to make. I have so many ideas, and I don't have the time.
Kim, I actually started trying to teach myself how to do quill work. I've started on leather. I didn't start with birch bark straight away, but I've been using the quills that you sent me. It's much harder than I thought it would be, but I think I'm getting better already.
Yeah, it's not an easy art. And as I said, you either love it or you hate it. But I love quilling. I just don't have time. I've
Yeah.
been so busy that I don't even have a minute to myself. This morning I made myself stay in bed till 8 o'clock, and then my whole day was shot. I was running behind on everything.
I know it can be hard to find some downtime to work
Mhm.
on crafts and do stuff, but I mean, I'm enjoying it so far. I
Good.
like the challenge of it. So I actually have 2 books that I'm trying to learn from, and I've been watching some YouTube videos and stuff too. So I mean, it's helpful. Hopefully I'll pick it up faster.
Have you tried it on birch bark now, Casey?
No, I haven't done it on birch bark yet. I just started out with leather because that's what I just had on hand. But I follow a few people on Facebook who are really, really talented when it comes to cool work on birch bark. So
Yeah.
I want to eventually try to do it on the bark once I can get my hands on some. I was telling my mom the other day, I was thinking this upcoming season I might try to harvest my own birch bark locally here too and use that.
It's easier on birch bark than it is leather.
Yeah, I was going to ask how you found the difference because I've only ever done it on birch bark and I couldn't imagine trying to do it on leather. I find it super easy on birch bark.
Yeah, it's so much easier on birch bark.
And that's what I found too, like even the YouTube videos and stuff that I found online, like almost everyone it seems is working with birch bark as opposed to trying to do it on leather. So I was thinking maybe if I start with a harder task first, it might make it easier when I decide to work.
Probably will. All right, there's my first feather. The glare's a bit strong. What I'll do again is take a picture of this and post it on the Facebook page again tomorrow morning, and you guys can see and see the detail and try to do what you can. But if
That
you
looks
guys
good.
could, thanks. If you guys could get your feathers done for next week, we can start working on the canoe. And because I think that'll take some time trying to get the fill in between the lettering. It'll be pretty detailed work doing 1 or 2 beads at a time in between there. And then the following, so that's week 3. And then hopefully we can at least get started on the fill on the black, and that'll be homework 2. And I'll get you started on week 4 on the lanyard, and then on week 5 we can spend our last night together piecing it all together, doing we'll do another band of rhinestones around the edge for a clean edge, and then we'll do put it all together, put the lanyard with the medallion piece, and use the fabric and put it all together. So I'll teach you how to do a Pico Stitch too for the end, or I can show both the Pico Stitch or the whip stitch, and you guys can choose which one you want to do. Pico Stitch uses way fewer beads, and it's a cool look, and we can go over the different styles of Pico too. It's the same technique, it's just a matter of how many beads you use to get the
So
different looks.
Jill, next week is next Friday instead of Thursday, correct?
Yes. So yeah, I had booked it because Bing's birthday's Thursday
Right.
night, and I thought we'd be celebrating. But he works next Thursday and he's off next Friday. So so that's my bad. But I didn't expect that we'd be back open again and that he'd be
Yes.
back full time. So Not a big deal. He's a guy, right? So he's like, my birthday doesn't mean anything. He doesn't care. Yeah. So we'll do a nice dinner for him Friday night, an early dinner, and then we'll see everybody after that.
All right, perfect. All right, everyone. Well, we've made it to the end of session number 2 in our medallion making workshop. Miigwech for joining us tonight. And we'll see you next week for session 3, which Kim said is on the Friday, not the Thursday. So it's Friday, the 26th, starting at our regular time of 6 p.m. And miigwech again to you, Jill, for sharing your knowledge with us and teaching us how to make these medallions. Have a
No
great
worries.
night, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Jill. Thank you, everyone.